this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK, and my job is to demonstrate products that some Stampin' Up sell in order to maybe inspire you with your own creative journey. Today this is our project. This is what I'm going to be showing you how I made. It uses this stamp set, which is called Nothing's Better Than. So it's nothing better than coffee, nothing better than cookies, nothing better than cocktails, nothing better than chocolate, and corresponding images. Absolutely lovely, love it. And there's all these other images. A day without chocolate is and then it says I've got no idea, like, just kidding, I have no idea, or you're just like chocolate, you make everything better. So they can all go together. I've made quite a lot of cards with the coffee cups. I've made a couple with the chocolates. Up until I made this card, I hadn't used the cocktails, but then I'm on a roll because I also made this one, which I posted on my blog a few days ago. So I'm going to be showing you how to make that one very soon. But today we're focusing on this one. And I have used, you could just fussy cut, if you just wanted to do this one, you could fussy cut that cocktail, but I have actually got the dies, so I am going to be using the die to die cut that. I know some of you may not have a die cutting machine, but you can fussy cut these things. If you're only going to make a couple, probably worth thinking about fussy cutting rather than investing in the dies, which I know are quite expensive. Right, okay, so what we're going to do, right, we need a card blank first of all, which is this is my, so this was my sheet of A4, thick basic white, because it's I'm using the white as a card blank, and then I've cut it in half at just under 15 centimeters, and then I'm just going to bring my trimmer in and just score that. Oh, let's get the cutting blade out of the way. Just score that at 10.5. So I've got a card blank that measures roughly 15, just a smidgen short of 15 by 10.5. You can of course work in inches. I tend not to. I'm a metric girl, I'm afraid. There we go, but they can all be turned into inches if you wanted to. There's loads of conversion charts on the internet that you can use. Right, okay, so what we need is, right, we're going to stamp the cocktail first, and then I'm going to do all the die cutting and embossing at once, because I'm going to need to emboss a piece for this, I'm going to need to die cut something for this, and then I'm going to need die cut that. So it's going to do all that together. So first of all, we're going to stamp and ink the cocktails. I've just got a little tiny piece of card here, which is all I need, a little scrap of basic white, and I need this cocktail stamp. These ones came out before they started printing the stamps inside the case, which I actually love the idea of. I'm loving the new sets where they've done that. Right, I need a clear block to put this on. Is this going to be big enough? Yes. And I'm stamping it in Memento ink. And then of course you could just colour this with blends or watercolour pencils, or whatever your favourite colouring medium is, but I'm going to use the infill stamps here that are provided in the set, just so that I can demonstrate them. So in the set we've got this bit that fills up the cocktail, and then we've got the slice of lime or lemon, and we've got the little parasol. So I'm going to take each of those. I need a couple of little mini blocks, actually 3 little mini blocks, little A blocks. Luckily I've got a whole selection. Of course, if you're working at home, you can just swap them over, use one stamp, take it off, use another. It's just quicker for me to use different blocks, and I built up a collection when I used to do classes, which now seems a whole world away after the pandemic. Right, okay, so what we are going to do is, I'm doing it sort of a bit like a tequila sunrise, with orange at the bottom and yellow at the top, which I quite like the look of. So I'm going to do the orange first. So I'm going to take this stamp. You can do any combination. You could do it solid, you could do it one colour, you could do any combination of colours. I just choose to do orange and yellow. So I'm just going to ink on the side of the pad the bottom part of my stamp, and then I'm going to come in. I should have done the lighter colour first, actually, thinking about it. I've done this the wrong way round, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to overlap very slightly and do yellow. It would have been better to do the yellow first, because it wouldn't matter so much if I got yellow on the orange pad. It would matter a bit if I got a lot of orange on my yellow pad. Right, and I'm just going to try and line this up. Now, it doesn't fit exactly, so you don't have to be too precise. There will be some white space, so don't be too worried about that. And then I'm just going to take Granny Apple Green, if I can find what I've done with my Granny Apple Green. Here we go. Because this is going to have a slice of lime in it, this cocktail. You could do lemon, up to you. There we go. And again, doesn't fit quite exactly, but don't worry too much about that. And then we're going to use polished pink for our little parasol. On this card, I did a whole different range of colours. So I did green, and I did Daffodil Delight at the top all the time. That was Pumpkin Pie. I think, oh no, what was that? Pool Party, I think that was. And then that was Poppy Parade. So I did a whole different range of different colours. So it doesn't matter. You get cocktails in all sorts of colours. If you wanted to be authentic, you could look up cocktails on the internet. Now, can you see that hasn't fit properly? And I want to fill up that last little bit. So I'm just going to stamp it again and just slightly alter the position so that fills that little space up. There, that's my stamping of my cocktail done. When I come to video this card, I'm not going to redo those cocktails, so you will need to look back at this video to find out how I did those cocktails, but I will show you how I did the sea or the pool or whatever you want to interpret that as. Right, okay, I'm going to just get rid of my grid paper to bring my big cutter in, because I'm going to be doing some embossing here, and the embossing folders won't go through the mini. So on the original card, where is it? I used I think it was called Dainty Diamonds, which sadly has now retired. I'm so sad. I loved that embossing folder. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the camera, but I'm going to use the Tasteful Textile 3D folder here. And when you're using the 3D folder, you just need a different sandwich of plates to what you would normally have. So you need 1 and you need 4. So just bear in mind you need a different sandwich of plates to do these, and then it should go through nicely. You see how easily that goes through. There we go. So I should have a nice piece of embossed card in Coastal Cabana. There, lovely. I'm investing in some more of the new embossing folders, but I don't have very many of them at the minute. Right, so I can put that plate 4 away and bring in my two and my 2 3s now, because I'm just going to be die cutting. Now, instead of using this as my ledge, which was from the Ornate Border, no, it's not Borders, Ornate Style, I think, Ornate something dies. I just cut off a bit of one of those dies. Today I'm using a die from the Hand Pen suite, which is this little scallop with stitching. So I'm just using that, and I'm going to do it in polished pink, not petal pink, polished pink. I want it to be quite straight. I don't know whether it's going to stay in position. I'm going to try it. If it doesn't, I'll do another one and I'll washi tape it. Oh, I think that's looking all right. So you could washi tape it down, but if you want to chance it, you can. So that's going to give me a lovely, oh, that's lovely. Just need to snip that off at the end there. Hasn't gone quite all the way along my card. It's going to be long enough though. Really lovely little scalloped edge with the stitching. That's really nice. And that, like I said, that's from the don't know what the dies on their old are called. It's the Hand Pen suite. So if you look up Hand Penned, you'll find it in the catalogue. And then lastly, of course, we need to do our cocktail. So did I get the die out, or did I leave it in here? No, let's get that out. So I might use a little bit of washi tape here just to make sure that this is going to stay in position as I die cut. So that looks about right to me. And then that is going in there. There we go. And I should have beautiful cocktail cut out. Right, so I can get rid of my die cutting machine and then we can start assembling. So I've got my card blank and I've got my piece of embossed cardstock, and I can either measure, I can either know what size I want this. So I know this is 15 by 10.5, so it's going to be roughly, depends how big a border I want really, but roughly 10 by 14.5. But actually what I do sometimes, I just line it up here. This is giving me the border that I want. So this is just a different way to do it rather than having measurements all the time. And then I just mark where I want it to go there and where I want it to go there. And normally I would do this with my little cutter, my little mini cutter, but as I'm on video and you're not able to get a version of our mini cutter, I'll do it on here. And now I've lost my pencil marks. Oh, there they are. Didn't mark them enough. I'm just going to make them a bit more obvious. There we go. So just line that pencil mark up with your cutting gap there. Get rid of the scoring and go up like that. And I just do my pencil mark just to the right, so it's going to be cut off, so there aren't any pencil marks to rub out. And then again there. And I find that the easiest way to do, because sometimes my card blanks might not be exactly 15 by 10.5, so I just find that the easiest way to do it and quickest. So that's going on like that, actually that way around. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow. You can decide, of course, how big you want your borders to be. Do you want a tiny, tiny thin border? Do you want a slightly thicker border? Doesn't matter one way or the other, just depends on the look that you want. So I'm just going to smooth this out. A bit reluctant to come out, that Tombow at the minute. I think it might need throwing out and replacing. There we go. So just position it so that you get roughly the same border all the way around. That's the important thing. You want it to be straight and you want it to be roughly the same border all the way around. Now I'm going to take my piece of cardstock that's going to go on here like this. This measures, I did measure this, I think it's 11.5 by 7. I'll just check, 11.5 by 7 centimetres. In inches, if you wanted it, it's 2 3/4 by 4.5 if you want it in inches. Just keep pressing this as the glue dries, just make sure all the edges are really nicely stuck down. Before I stick this on here, I'm actually gonna put it together because I want to be able to stamp this, and I'm not sure stamping on that textured surface is gonna be very good. So I'm gonna place my die cut. I'm gonna let it overhang. Actually, I am gonna let it overhang. So I just wanted something to look so that the cocktail looked like it was grounded and wasn't just floating in the air. And I'm loving this scalloped die. This is going to be one of my forever in my collection dies. A lot of my dies I do get rid of, but this one I'm loving, and I can see an awful lot of general uses for it, so it won't go. And I love the fact that it's got a little bit of stitching along it just to make it even nicer. And I'm loving this colour, this polished pink. I like all the in colours actually this year, but the polished pink is really gorgeous, and I love it with Coastal Cabana. Doesn't it look great? I'm going to trim a tiny bit off. I want it to overhang, but I'm just going to trim a tiny bit off each end, just so it doesn't overhang quite as much. So it's just got a little overhang, but not too much. And then I'm going to position my cocktail, which I'm going to put on some dimensionals. Now, oh no, here they are. I was going to say, did I put my dimensionals away? I didn't, of course. Right, I'm going to use mini ones today because these are quite some tiny places that you need to get into with this die. So just place them there. I'm going to put one in the middle because I don't want it to sag in the middle. And I'm actually going to have to cut, oh no, I've got a couple that are cut in half. Just because there's some tiny places here. So that's a half of one going down on the stem. And then have I got another half of one? No. Let's just cut another one and just... That's what's great about dimensionals. You can cut them to whatever size you want. And then that is going to go there. Oh, I'm loving this colour scheme. I can think of a few people this would be an appropriate birthday card for. So that's all good. That will go in my birthday box. Have a little stash. My kids now moved out of home, and they forever ring me up and say, can you send me a birthday card for my friend? Because they're used to just having my little box to go to and choose a card. And of course now they've moved out, that's not quite so handy for them. So there we go. Now the last thing is we want to put happy birthday on here. I do want to do happy birthday. So I'm using, unbelievably I brought this set but just because I loved that happy birthday and thank you. Haven't used the ice creams yet. I must do at some stage. But I do love this happy birthday. So I'm going to use it. It needs quite a big block actually because it's quite a long stamp. So just put that on there, and then I'm going to stamp it along here in Memento ink. So I'm just going to stamp it with, this is Memento Tuxedo Black. It's the only black pad that we sell. We don't sell any our Stampin' Up own make in black anymore, but this does the job all the time. There we go, just make sure it does it. I think it might need re-inking again, my Memento ink, because I use it an awful lot. And I just need to position this so that it's straight and fits in that gap. And that's why I waited to put this together. Oh, that's nice. I like that positioning. And then that is just going to go on there. Oh, I'm preferring this colour to the one I did before. So again, just a little bit of Tombow. Of course, you could use any other glue. It doesn't have to be wet glue that you use. I just like liquid glue, like I've said a million times before, because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. I find it very easy to use. I have it sat in a little pot with a little bit of damp cotton wool in the bottom, so the end is always ready to go. It doesn't dry out, and I just find it really convenient and really economical. I find the tape runners, I don't use them much so they don't run out, but I think if I used them all the time, it would be costing me a fortune. But it's a personal preference thing. I know a lot of people that would only use tape runners. I know a lot of people that use double-sided tape all the time. There, what a beautiful summery cocktaily card. I'm loving that. I was going to stamp another cocktail inside and colour it with blend. Oh no, I suppose I could do it with stamps like I've just done. I was thinking I was colouring it with blends and then that would come through, but actually I could do it. So should we just quickly do that then? Let's do it, why not? So we're going to do a cocktail. So this is going to link through from the card. I love having linking things. Just think it makes it look even more special. And I've got all my stamps here that I'm going to use the same colours, so no need to clean them. So I need yellow first this time. Do the top of my cocktail in yellow. And then the bottom of my cocktail in this. I'm sure there are other cocktails. So like I said, this is sort of thinking about a tequila sunrise, but I'm sure there are other cocktails that are two colour as well that you could think of, or that you could find with a little bit of research. There we go. And then it's just my umbrella, my little parasol. And my lime slice. Could make it a lemon slice if you wanted to, like I said before. Might be more likely to have a lemon slice, but I just quite like using this Granny Apple Green. It's one of my favourite colours. There we go. And we are done for today. thank you so much for watching. Just get rid of some of the rubbish. So that's, I need to do that the same thing in there now. I will do that after I come off camera. So that was how I made my card. This I made for a blog hop that was called Cheers, that nobody else liked, but I loved it. So I just loved using this little I love this little cocktail image, really nice. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. All of the products that I've used on this card are still available. A couple of the things, so this, oh no, it's just the embossing folder that's not available now. But all available. There are links below to my shop so that you can go straight through and have a little look, see how much stuff is, whether you want to order. But I hope you enjoyed that project. I hope it might inspire you to do something yourself, and I will be back very soon with another project, so please join me soon. Now, like I said, my next video will be my other cocktails card, this one, so do join me for that, and I'll show you how I made that. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Have a lovely day. Bye.